Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about doing business in South Korea. We're going to be giving you a brief country overview, talking about the political, legal, economic, and cultural environment, and giving you some business guidelines for doing business there with 4 ways to provide success and be able to trade or do any type of business in South Korea. All right, here we go. Hi there, my name is Megan. I'm just going to be giving you a brief overview about South Korea before we begin our presentation. It is in East Asia, sharing borders with North Korea, Japan, and China. The population is 51.47 million people with an average lifespan age of 77 years old. The president is Moon Jae-in, where it's a democratic republic where he is president, but the head of government is the prime minister. The currency is the South Korean won, and the main language spoken is Korean. It is an industrial leader in the economic world currently and has major religions of Buddhism and Christianity. So we will just continue with our presentation from here.
South Korea has been both an autocratic and democratic republic, but currently it is a centralized democratic republic with a separation of powers between the executive, legislative, and judicial branch, all of which operates under the checks and balance system. At the head of the government, it is the president, and he leads the executive branch. Due to South Korea being a multi-state party, the president is elected every 5 years and can only serve 1 term. After the president, it is the prime minister, and he leads 17 other ministers who were elected by the president. Due to South Korea's well-established legal system and their enforcement of laws, their political risk has been relatively low. However, they do have moderately high corruption in their system. The main form of corruption has been bribery and fraud. In order to minimize the corruption in their system, they have enacted the criminal code, which criminalizes any form of bribery or any type of corruption that they might have in their system.
Okay, let's talk about the legal environment in South Korea. Korea law is based on the Constitution of Republic of Korea, which is under the system of civil law, and it's difficult to change. Here are some laws you need to know when doing business in South Korea. First one is MRFTA, which is forecast by the Korea Fair Trade Commission. The regulation tries to fight against unfair competition between companies. Second is IP law. Since Korea is one of members in WTO, make Korea need to meet the minimum standard of international IP law. To protect your company IP such as copyrights, patent, you need to register in Korean Industrial Property Office. The final one is the Labor Standard Act. The maximum number of working hours in each week is 52 hours and the minimized wage is 7.4 USD per hour. Companies have to make sure that they meet this employment standard.
With the GDP of $1,690 billion, South Korea has one of the strongest economies in the entire world. In the 1960s, the GDP was comparable to the poorest nations. However, the economy under the Park Chung-hee administration quickly turned South Korea into a well-developed and highly technologically advanced nation that is today. South Korea relies heavily on exports totaling to $542.3 billion, about 1/3 of the total GDP. Main exports include electronic products, automobile, machinery, and clothing, with China as the main trading partner, followed by US and Japan. The service sector employs more than 2/3 of South Korea's workforce, accounting for more than half of the economy. Manufacturing accounts for 40% of the economy. South Korea's rice production is among one of the highest in the world per unit of land. South Korea has an economic system where groups of massive, mostly run family conglomerates called chaebols dominate the economy and have extraordinary influence over its politics. Chaebol stems from the word che, which means wealth, and bol, which means clan. It originated back from the Park Chung-hee administration in the 1960s when it was prioritizing exports by giving preferential loans to fend off external competition. Chaebol expanded to different industries and tapped into foreign markets to help South Korea increase its GDP growth as well as lifting millions out of poverty.
So starting with South Korean cultural elements, to start off, Korean is obviously the language of South Korea with Hangul as their alphabet. Confucianism, Buddhism, and Christianity are the three major religions in South Korea, with Confucian principles really highly influencing their culture. These Confucian principles include and emphasize group harmony, respect for authority, respect for elders, and the importance of family, friendship, ancestors, and tradition. A family is the most important part of South Korean society, with the father being the leader of the family. As far as cultural dimensions go, South Korea has a very high power distance, as they are very accepting of that unequal power distribution. They don't really test that authority. They very strictly respect their social hierarchy. South Korean culture is characterized by the concept of Jeong, and Jeong is particularly broad and difficult to define, but it includes ideas of compassion, sympathy, attachment, affection, and community. So building on that community, South Korea is also a very collectivistic culture. They are about community, focusing on the group rather than the individual. And South Korea also has a very high uncertainty avoidance. So they do not like uncertainty, they don't like risk, they don't like ambiguity, which therefore lends them also to having a more long-term orientation as well. They value steady growth and durability of companies. In the corporate world, they focus more on the stakeholders and the betterment of society rather than quarterly profits for shareholders. And when it comes to indulgence versus strength, South Korea falls more on the restraint side. They follow the social norms and do not indulge in activities for instant gratification. And again, a lot of these values really do stem from the Confucian principles.
Hi, my name is Maya Tennell, and I'm here today to give you 4 tips and guidelines to doing successful business in South Korea. First, it is important to demonstrate respect for authority and elders when greeting and addressing. This can be done by the simple bow of a head, a handshake, or just giving sincere compliments. This will help you in your very first encounters. Secondly, time is money in the South Korean culture, and people have the inner urge to work hard and remain busy. Leisure time is very uncommon in this culture. Therefore, consistently illustrating your commitment to your work is pivotal in the Korean culture. Third, Korea is long-term oriented and prioritizes steady growth of market share rather than quarterly profit. When negotiating, expect a price war, but remain patient and gentle, but also firm. Koreans really admire this quality in people and will put you one step further to success. Lastly, it is important to carry multiple business cards around due to the dispersion of business cards being an essential part of initial business meetings. From this, you will establish a title and rank. You must treat these cards with respect and disperse of them while standing up. By respect, I mean not just skimming over the information, not just shoving them in your pocket, and not writing on them. Treat them like gems, and you will be one step closer to being successful in the South Korean business culture. So ultimately, all of these will aid in successful business in South Korea. Best of luck. Thank you.
As you can see, a business meeting starts with everyone bowing to one another to show courtesy, creating a good business relationship and personal bond. Koreans then ask for your age to determine the eldest to treat them with the highest of respect. They then exchange business cards as well as gifts as a friendly gesture to maintain a good relationship.